Hi, my name is Jane Powell. Welcome to Community Connections. This is a show about community involvement brought to you by the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation. And we are so lucky today. I have two guests on the show, Tiffany Staunton, who is the volunteer coordinator of Team West Virginia, and Amanda Davis, who is with Mission West Virginia. Welcome, guys. Welcome. So nice to have you here.
Thank you.
So I think what we're going to do today, because we have two separate organizations that do separate things, but kind of come together. So let's talk a little bit about that. Amanda, why don't you tell me about Mission West Virginia and the Bridge?
Okay. Mission West Virginia is an organization, and we actually serve all of West Virginia, but we're based out of Putnam County. And our organization basically serves all of the state in different ways. We have some health education initiatives. We also, through our Frameworks program, serve students that are actually all kids in foster and adoptive care, and we are a resource for them. The Bridge is actually through our Frameworks program as another way to serve the foster children of West Virginia, and it is aimed at academically supporting and advocating for those kids in kindergarten through 12th grade within the schools.
Okay, so foster children.
Yes.
Too.
Yes.
Is your primary audience or objective.
That's right. The student is eligible to be in the Bridge program if they are in foster care or if they've been in foster care within the past year. Also, students that maybe are cared for by a relative through kinship care, they also can be a part of our program.
Okay. Tiffany, you're with Team West Virginia, and the broader organization is CASA, is that right? So why don't you tell us a little bit about CASA and then maybe break that down just a little bit more for us.
Okay. CASA is court-appointed special advocates, and we are appointed to child abuse and neglect cases by circuit court judges. We serve as a voice for the child through their case. We train the volunteers. Each of the volunteers are assigned to the cases, and that's kind of how CASA is. And then under that we have Fostering Futures, which is newer. And Fostering Futures serves children ages 14 to 21 who have been in child abuse and neglect cases currently. And the program is to improve the outcomes for the older youth who may be transitioning out. So it's providing them the skills that they need to learn, scheduling their own doctor's appointments, balancing a checkbook, applying for jobs, applying for financial aid, and different things like that, so they can kind of be prepared for independent living.
So what you guys have in common, your organizations and what you work towards, is helping foster children.
That's right.
That's right. So the program that has kind of brought you together, you touched on it, is Fostering Futures. Amanda, can you tell us just a little bit more about Fostering Futures?
Well, Fostering Futures, we actually came in partnership with the Fostering Futures program because Mission West Virginia and Team West Virginia, I think, have historically worked together on just different things.
I love that, by the way. I love that you're working with them.
Right, yeah, it's really very exciting. We've been on behalf of foster children before in different areas, and whenever we kind of came up with the Bridge program, we discovered that Fostering Futures also was serving kids that maybe we might have some overlaps with, and so we decided that at that point we would start working together to play on each other's strengths. For example, the Fostering Futures program really focuses a great deal on their independent living skills and just practical things that they would need to be able to move forward in life. And ours is primarily focused in academic world for them to be able to hopefully be successful in school and graduate on time and things of those nature. So whenever we were able to come together to collaborate on this project, we were able to just better serve the kids because we each had different strengths and we both had different things to bring to the table.
Because I'm guessing, and this is an assumption on my part, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but once the child is 18 and out of school, that maybe there's not as much attention and the services don't follow them through until now. Would that be something?
Go ahead.
I would say so. If a student ages out of foster care at the age of 18 with no real safety net or plan, which is what is a huge risk,
Right.
they are very likely to either at a minimum be on public assistance and not be contributing members of our community in a real meaningful way, or they will end up maybe being incarcerated or worse, homeless. There's a lot of things that statistically nationally can befall a child really at 18 that is at suddenly on their own and haven't been taught the skills or have any kind of work experience or academic assets for them to have to be able to be successful.
Or like you said, the life skills to make a doctor's appointment, show up for the job interview, follow through.
Right.
Yeah,
Things that we might take for granted.
Right. It's very important because someone showed us, so we need to show somebody else.
Right.
So yeah, I can
exactly.
appreciate that. Let's talk about the geographic area you guys cover. Where do we find these people? What areas do you cover?
For the bridge, the children were eligible probably in the footprint that would surround Putnam County initially. And so we, of course, were extending that invitation for referrals from Putnam, from Cabell County, Kanawha County, Clay County, Lincoln, just any of those bordering counties. Since we are a small pilot program, we were really searching for where the area of some very great need was so we could really focus our efforts, and it ended up that we have been working a great deal with Clay County schools. And so that's where probably the bulk of the bridge students are at this time, although we do have some in Cabell and Kanawha, and I think we are working with a group home in Wayne County.
Wow, quite a big area. And Tiffany, what areas are you covering?
CASA covers, Western Regional CASA covers Cabell, Wayne, Putnam, Lincoln, Boone, and Kanawha.
Okay. What type of training is involved for a volunteer?
With CASA, they need to complete an interview and a background check, and then we have 30 hours of training. And then we also have, with Fostering Futures, it's in 6 hours of additional hands-on training that teaches different assessments that they'll need to know to work with the older youth, of kind of questions to ask and stuff for how to do independent living skills to kind of gauge where that child is.
Yeah, so almost 40 hours of training just to get started. Yeah. How about your volunteers and your employees? What type of training is involved there?
Actually, the bridge, we do not work with, we do have volunteers, but not to actually work directly with the kids.
Okay.
We actually, what we do is have an academic counselor, and those must be degreed and with experience in order to be able to work with the students.
Okay, I can imagine that. Tell me, I guess, a success. I mean, I know it's a new program that you're working on, but I love to hear the feel-good, the successes. Have you got something like that you can share with us?
Just with all of the work we've been doing with Clay County schools, I think that the partnership that we have been able to work with them in particular has been overall a big success. We had a goal of trying to figure out the most efficient way to meet the most kids, and for us to be able to really pull in as many different stakeholders as possible. And Clay County just really threw open their doors and has just made our job so much easier to be able to go in and really effectively serve the kids without having a lot of, I call it scut work, where you have to just get everything prepared and ready. I mean, they've really just tried to streamline it for us, and so that in and of itself has been a huge success for us. But I think on a student level, I would talk to students in high school, for example, that maybe were very deficient in credits because of all their transfers and placements in different places, and they thought that they couldn't graduate from high school, and so they really, one particular young lady was considering dropping out and kind of just going a different route, and through us being able to talk to her, I think she's made a good decision to be able to stay in school, and we have a very clear plan for her that she's going to be able to stick with. So that was the reason why I do it.
That's a success story. That's a feel-good story.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Tiffany, is there something that you're so proud of with your program that you've been able to accomplish?
Well, Fostering Futures is still pretty new with Western Regional CASA. It is a national program, so there has been a lot of success. It came to Wheeling a couple years ago, and it kind of started up there and kind of trickled down. But CASA in general, we've had a lot of success just kind of being that extra voice for the child and kind of helping them walk through the whole process of child abuse and neglect cases and being sometimes that stable person in their life due to different, people kind of going in and out of the scenes.
Right. Yeah. Well, and the fact that you've taken a national program and brought it here is a success. So I know that it's new, but I imagine we'll hear great things about it. Yeah. Where do you see it growing? What do you see happening in the future?
Well, I think just on really basic terms, us being able to create a really good model that actually really serves the needs of these children and being able to duplicate it and expand it to where more schools and more foster children are able to benefit. So that's absolutely where I see it going. I think it's already working in the short amount of time, and it's just going to continue, I think.
Tiffany, can a child that is already working with a CASA volunteer, can they be enrolled in the Foster Futures program?
Yes. As soon as they hit the age of 14, if they're already a CASA, like assigned a CASA volunteer, we will just kind of incorporate them into our program.
Okay.
So we will start then working with the assessments to teaching them the life skills and making sure that they kind of have everything in order. So whenever they do decide to either sign themselves out or even stay in the state's custody to help possibly with scholarships and stuff for educational benefits.
Because I would imagine college is a distant vision in the beginning for many of these children.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, but there are ways that you're working with ways to make that possible for them. So I know that that
Yes.
is a great advantage for them.
Yes.
So that's good. I guess as we're kind of wrapping up the program and we're closing, what should we take away? What do you want people to know about the program, and what message do you want to leave with us?
I would say a message overall about foster children is that they all have the capacities to succeed if you give them the right tools and support. And they are one of the most vulnerable sections of our population, and I feel like that as a society it is our duty to do something to serve them and give them a safety net. And I feel like that our program is well underway, and we are very much about sharing information and increasing not only our capacity but also anyone else who serves that population of kids.
Tiffany, how about you?
We're just excited to be able to start, to get further into the Fostering Futures program and to kind of let our volunteers mentor, and a lot of times that was the ages that kind of was neglected before.
Teenage years are hard for everyone.
Right.
I totally understand that.
So now we can kind of help mentor them and maybe even encourage some of them to stay in the state's custody
Great.
a little bit longer.
If someone is interested in your program, how do they find you? I believe we have website information that we can put on the screen, but why don't you tell us your website, the best way to find you?
You can go onto the Mission WV website, and there is a link on there through the Frameworks program, and then on Frameworks you can get to the bridge and
Okay.
find out all the information you
And
need
you have
to
a
get
website
us.
also?
Yes, teamwv.org,
Great.
and they can go to the CASA link.
Thank you so much for being here. I
Thank you.
feel like we've shed light on a very important subject and good work that you're doing, so I thank you for that. Amanda Davis, Tiffany Staunton, thank you. And
Thanks
thank
for
you for
having me.
joining us. It's so nice that you were here today. Come back and see us again on Community Connections, brought to you by the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation.